All right, and we're coming to you live from a Saturday special 412 press coverage. I got the host of the show, Maurio. Um, we got a lot to talk about. I feel like we had to have a Saturday episode. The week's been hectic, the week's been good, and all sports, not just football. So we're gonna bring it over to Mario, and he's gonna get us started.
Welcome everybody to our first ever Saturday special, and we'll start us off with a more of a somber note. Well, it, it's something that started off sad and has gotten better as the week has gone on. But we'll start with Damar Hamlin, who obviously went into cardiac arrest on the field on the Monday night game against the Bengals and the Bills. He had to be revived on the field, and it was a very unprecedented situation thing that happened to him. He's been getting better as the week's gone on, but just J Rod, I'll just ask, like, what's your reaction to the play, the hit, what happened?
It's obviously the more Hamlin being a guy from here in Pittsburgh, he's being from the hood, being from the trenches, giving back to his community. He's not just a football player to Pittsburgh. He's like the mayor. You know, he gives back to the community. He shows that you can make it. There's not much of that in Pittsburgh, and I feel as if us seeing that kind of stopped the whole city for a little bit. He's a well-known guy. He's a well-liked guy. He grew up over in McKees Rocks. You know, he didn't went to Central. He didn't went to Pitt. He's just an all-around Pittsburgh guy that he should be on the Steelers. It's ridiculous that he's not on the Steelers, but
Yeah,
he was also leading that team. Many people I feel like didn't know about D Ham until that happened, but D Ham was leading that team in
yeah,
tackles, that whole defense in tackles. So, it's a big hurt for the Bills and it was a big hurt for everybody. And I feel like the whole world just stopped. D Ham's been that guy since Pitt, since Central, to be honest. I remember I think they were playing Syracuse or something. D Ham picks the guy up in the Pitt game and slams him right to the ground.
yeah, I
And
remember
it was all over ESPN. And I
that.
feel
Yeah,
that's when he got his jump though. Like people didn't understand. People didn't know who I feel like who D Ham was until that happened. But I think we got to make it a point too that his fundraising and raised, I think from now it's like a little over 9 million.
millions of dollars.
Yeah,
It's
like
a lot.
you know how much that's going to help the community he came from, just Pittsburgh in general.
Yeah,
Um, it's amazing to see people come together and just stop thinking about sports and thinking about the livelihood of people, just worrying about him. And I just think that's how it should be, though. We'll get into the comments of some other people later, but all in all, I do think everyone had the same reaction. You know, well, what's happening? You know, hopefully he gets all right, and he's back talking now. Yes, if they won the game, we're going to get out and we're going to get into all of that later. It's just I'm glad he's all right, man. I remember when he did that hit a couple weeks ago. I was talking about it on here. He freaking murdered somebody right in the end zone. It was a great hit, and they
yeah,
ejected him for it. And I was like, "What the man?" It was a wonderful hit, and I loved it. That's what football's all about.
yeah. And you're right about not many people probably wouldn't know who he was, like, unless you were from Pittsburgh. Like, obviously, you knew who he was. I knew who he was. Um, and when it happened, because I don't know if you were watching the game, but I kind of had the game on in the background and I wasn't really paying attention. And then I look over at the TV and like everybody's standing around. And then like the first shot that I saw was of Stephon Diggs crying. And that was the first shot. That was the first like it was the first time I looked at the TV. And then
Hmm.
obviously I noticed something was wrong. So then I went to Twitter. So and then I looked it up and I saw it was Damar and I was like, that's crazy because that's a Pittsburgh guy that seventh round pick, really worked his way up to the ranks. I mean, he's a seventh round pick in the 2021 draft. In this season, that's only 2 years removed. He's already starting safety, leading the team in tackles. So he's such an amazing player. And you're right, giving back to the community. As someone who wants to do something like that, especially when I get older, it's just an amazing thing. And Pittsburgh guy, and like they said that he could, he had many offers when he was in high school when he was recruited, and the fact that he went to Pitt and stayed home, and yeah, he's just a great guy, and I really look forward to him being able to see um what everybody's done for him, the way everybody's rallied around him. Hockey, football, basketball, every sport, college sports, everything. People have really rallied around him, and it's beautiful to see. And I love the. It's just a great thing.
Yeah, it was. I think it was a good moment in sports to see everybody come together.
Yeah,
From all over. I mean, soccer, football,
yeah.
basketball, hockey. Like it didn't matter where you were.
Hmm.
They just everyone stopped for a minute and prayed for his health. And I think that was the biggest part of it. To be honest, I didn't believe they was gonna cancel that game.
Yeah,
But I don't feel like you see someone just basically die, come back to life right in front of you. I don't understand. How a professional league can even think of someone going back out on that football field.
yeah. They were gonna put them back on the field, and they were gonna give them 5 minutes to warm up, and then they were gonna go back and play. And yeah,
Yeah, let's talk about that too. In my personal view of it, looking at it, I don't believe the NFL made that call.
yeah.
Um,
No, I don't know. It was the
I
players,
think it
and
was the
yeah,
players. The NFL can, they can say and do what they want, but in all reality, we all know the NFL didn't make that call. We can look at it and be like, oh yeah, great call by the NFL, but the player, they're not going to say it obviously because they work for the NFL, but I 100% believe the players were like, no, we're not going back on our field no matter what you guys say. And that's just what it was because they were all warming up saying, oh, they're about to, they're just postponing the game for now. You know what I mean? So I
yeah. I
think it was a
think
whole bunch of bullshit. Like, I think it
yeah,
was just BS. Like, that guy was hurt. He was not brave. You know what I mean? Like, just
yeah,
you sending your players back on that field as a coach, I think he stopped and said, I ain't doing this. And I have so much respect for him for that, to stand up to the NFL, to stand up to everybody and just be like, listen, we're not going back on that field. Because in all, they're not gonna say it, but we know what went on. We can see what went on. Everybody thinks it was the NFL that made that call. I don't believe it, but it's gonna be what it's gonna be.
yeah. I mean, we don't want to speculate too crazy, but I could see a situation where it was like the players said, the NFL was like, hey, you guys got to go back out there, and the players are like, no, we're not. And whenever it's one or two guys, it's okay. There's nothing wrong. But when it's not only one whole team, but two whole teams of players agreeing to do that, then there's not much they can do about it, really. And now that that game got canceled and they're officially not going to play it, you know about the playoff scenarios, correct?
Yeah, I know about it mainly. It's really weird to be totally honest with you, but yeah, we'll definitely get into that because I think that's the biggest part of this Saturday that we
Yeah,
have to talk about this new
for sure.
scenario that
Yeah.
just to me makes zero sense, but we'll go with it, I guess.
Hmm. Um. Well, for those who don't know, this is the official statement from the NFL. The NFL announced today that the Week 17 Buffalo Bills at Cincinnati Bengals game will be not be resumed and has been canceled. NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell informed all clubs of his decision earlier today after speaking with the Bills, the Bengals, and NFL Players Association leadership. This has been a very difficult week. Goodell said, we continue to focus on the recovery of Damar Hamlin and are encouraged by the improvements in his condition, as well as the tremendous outpouring of support and care for Damar and his family from across the country. We're also incredibly appreciative of the amazing work of the medical personnel and commend each and every one of them. Among the key factors in arriving in this decision, not playing the Buffalo Cincinnati game to its conclusion will have no effect on which clubs qualify for the postseason. No club would qualify for the postseason, and no club will be eliminated based on the outcome of the game. It would require postponing the start of the playoffs for 1 week, thereby affecting all 14 clubs that qualify for postseason play. And making the decision prior to Week 18 is consistent with our competitive principles and enables all clubs the playoff possibilities prior playing the final weekend of the regular season game. So, canceling the game between the Bills and Bengals creates potential competitive inequalities in certain playoff scenarios. In an effort to mitigate those inequalities, the NFL clubs will consider tomorrow in a special league meeting a resolution recommended by a commissioner and approved by competition committee consisting of two elements. So, the AFC Championship game will be played at a neutral site if participating teams played an unequal number of games and both could have been the number one seed and hosted the game had all AFC clubs played a full 17-game regular season. Those circumstances involve Buffalo or Cincinnati qualifying for the game as a road team and are listed below. Scenario 1. Buffalo and Kansas City both win or tie this weekend in Week 18. Therefore, a Buffalo versus Kansas City championship game would be held at a neutral site. Scenario 2. Buffalo and Kansas City both lose and Baltimore wins or ties. A Buffalo versus Kansas City championship game would be at a neutral site. When it says Baltimore wins, it means basically Cincinnati loses. So if all three teams, Kansas City, Buffalo, Cincinnati, all lose, then basically it would be the same as if Kansas City and Buffalo won. Buffalo and Kansas City both lose, Cincinnati wins. Then a championship game including Buffalo and Kansas City or Cincinnati would be held at a neutral site. Then it goes on to say if Baltimore defeats Cincinnati in Week 18, it will have defeated Cincinnati divisional opponent twice, but will not be able to host a playoff game because Cincinnati will have a higher winning percentage for a 16-game schedule than Baltimore would have with a 17-game schedule. If Baltimore defeats Cincinnati and those two clubs are scheduled to play a wild card game against one another, the site for that game would be determined by a coin toss. If Cincinnati wins the Week 18 game, or if Baltimore and Cincinnati are not scheduled to play one another in the wild card round, the game sites will be determined by regular scheduling procedures. So
I think that
that's a
that
lot
last one
to
is the biggest joke
that's a lot
I've
to
ever
unpack.
heard of in my life.
But the thing I'll say about that last one is, yeah, I think this game should be deciding who gets home field between Baltimore and Cincinnati because first of all,
If you beat
Cincinnati
a team twice,
will
then you
and
should get the home field advantage.
they'll have the same number of wins. They'll just have one more loss because they obviously played the extra game. But if
Yeah,
since
so
Cincinnati should beat Baltimore because Baltimore is a terrible team, they suck. They have without
yeah,
Lamar
I mean,
Jackson,
in all
Baltimore is a
reality,
shell of itself.
they should beat them. But the thing is that they don't beat them by a like I don't know
Then
who
yes,
made that
I
up.
agree. I
Like
agree. If
I
if
think I
Baltimore,
think that was the stupidest thing
yeah,
ever. You
if
were just like, yeah, we're gonna flip a coin to see who gets home field advantage. Like
if
that,
Baltimore
like who that didn't even sound right coming out of somebody's mouth professionally. And that's not a professional thing. That's a kid.
if Baltimore defeats Cincinnati, then yeah, they would have the same number of wins. Baltimore would have one less loss. But the fact that they beat Cincinnati twice, I think that should be an instant, tiebreaker. And Baltimore has not necessarily deserved it. They haven't, and it's not like their whole team is just bad. Obviously, Lamar's out. Lamar's a big part, and Tyler Huntley really is not. I mean, he's just not good at this
He's
point.
not Lamar
He's
Jackson.
he's not only is he not Lamar, he's just not good at all. So it's not like Baltimore is a better team, but I think Cincinnati will get it done this weekend as they should. They should get it done, and I don't think that shouldn't really matter because Cincinnati's going to beat them.
So and then my main thing is so if the Bills lose this weekend and KC wins, that means KC gets home field advantage, correct? Essentially.
Yes, if one team goes out as a clear number one seed, then yes, that team it would only be. I'm pretty sure if Buffalo wins and Kansas City loses, then it'll be Buffalo. Kansas City wins, Buffalo loses. Cincinnati has no chance to be the number one anymore. They can't.
Yeah,
I
okay.
I
So
think
that's the only thing that makes sense. But I
I
just
think
think it was stupid with the coin toss thing. Like
you're
that's
right.
like
Yeah,
that's
they
like the
should have
biggest
just
stupid
given it
thing
to
ever.
Baltimore if they win. But like I said, I don't think it's at Cincinnati. Cincinnati is way better than Baltimore, bro. The Steelers just beat Baltimore, bro. And even though I like the Steelers and I think they're going to the playoffs, Steelers suck. And Cincinnati should make quick work of them. I don't think that will be much of a competition, but that it brings up the wider question of should they have canceled the game, or should they have played it and done something differently to let everybody kind of have a fair shot? What is your thoughts on that?
I, you know, I honestly, I believe, of course, they should have canceled the game this week. 100%. I understand. Um, I was no fan of resuming that game, playing that game this week, nothing. But the only thing that doesn't make sense for me is they're playing, both of those teams are playing this weekend. So they're both playing this weekend. It's not like you guys canceled their football games for the week.
Yeah,
Like you just canceled that one game. They can come back and play uh, Thursday night.
yeah, I
Like
think.
you know what I mean?
Well,
That doesn't. It just
yeah,
doesn't make sense.
that's true. It would be tough to make them play on Thursday. I feel like they could have made them play like the people are saying this is unforeseen. This has never happened before. So if they would have pushed the playoffs back by a week, and then had no bye week in between the last round in the Super Bowl, or the championship game in the Super Bowl, then there's no, especially if Cincinnati and Buffalo both win and Kansas City were to lose this weekend, that game would essentially be played for the number one
Well,
seed.
well, that's
I
what
think
I'm
they missed
saying.
that big
So
opportunity for that.
they could have played their game this week because they're playing it no matter what. The NFL didn't cancel that game,
Yeah.
and then after they played that game, they could have just played on Thursday.
Yeah. They
So
could have played on.
it's
They could have played on Thursday or Friday, and then pushed the playoffs back by a week, and then have.
yeah,
You see what I'm saying? And then they could have had one of those teams presumably would get a week off. They'd get a bye anyway, and then just have the other team play on Sunday night so they get as much rest as they need.
like I get what they were trying to do. Like, oh, we push this game back, we're pushing everybody back, yada yada
Yeah,
yada. But you
that's true.
know,
But pushing everybody back, I mean, giving everybody a week off, I don't think teams would
this
really have an
game,
issue with that.
this game could have adjusted the playoffs so
I
much.
know it's crazy how
It's
big of a game it
ridiculous.
was. Yeah.
Like, and like I said, I'm no fan of continuing to play
No,
this
not
week. Like, not
no.
at all.
It would have been
But
impossible because they would have had to pick up the game either Tuesday or Wednesday, and obviously they weren't going to do that on either of those days.
yeah, I'm more so, like I said, I'm more so mad about the coin toss. Like,
And
I
I'm
think
telling
whoever
you,
came
bro,
up with that
that is not
was
gonna.
just,
It is not gonna matter. But
yeah.
you're
I mean,
right. You're
I
right.
understand. I just don't
Like
even understand why they put that out there.
if Cincinnati loses and they do get to the coin toss, and Baltimore doesn't win the coin toss, then it will be an issue because Baltimore clearly would deserve it.
Yeah,
But it should not matter because Cincinnati should make quickly. It should be a blowout. Cincinnati should beat them by like 15 or 20 points in convincing fashion.
yeah. I mean, I totally agree. But it's just like, who put that out? Like, who even said that?
Yeah, I know what you mean. They thought
And then,
they thought people would, oh, this is crazy. A coin toss. I mess with that. They thought people were actually going to like that.
I mean, shit, line them up for Oklahoma's their best hitter versus their best hitter and just
Yeah.
see who wins. Like that, I'd rather
Yeah.
see that. I don't want to see a freaking coin toss.
They can make that
But
pay-per-view too, because that's what it's all about,
yeah,
right? I mean, that's at the end of the day, it's all about the money. They don't care about any. They can say they care about Damar's health all they want. At the end of the day, the only thing they care about is making all of their money and making it in the most efficient way possible. At the end of the day, that's it. That's all they care about.
and then like, what location is this championship game going to be played at?
I don't know.
Like, you know what I
I
mean?
hope it's in. I hope it's in Pittsburgh though. Well,
They won't do it in
I think
Pittsburgh.
I think the most disadvantaged team here is is Buffalo because not only do they lose a starting safety, a starting player on their team, but they have lost to Kansas City 2 straight years in the playoffs. They go into Kansas City this week and or not this week, excuse me, this year and win. And now, not only if they played a neutral site is one thing, but losing the advantage of actually playing in Buffalo in their stadium, I think that is I think that's going unnoticed. Like the fact that not only do they not play in Buffalo, but they have to play in some random place.
Yeah, I think it's all crazy, man. It's sad that what happened, but
Yeah,
it's even sadder that like it had such a big impact,
that's
and it's
unfortunate.
just
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
yeah. And I mean, KC. Like you don't want to go play in Arrowhead. Like
No.
everyone knows that.
Yeah.
That's between Lambeau Field. Lambeau. You don't want to go play in Lambeau, which no one will this playoffs. But you don't want to play in Lambeau. You don't want to play in Arrowhead.
Hines.
You know,
Don't forget about Hines.
yeah. You don't really want to play in the Steelers. Like, there's a
Yeah.
lot of places, but those like you definitely don't want to play in Arrowhead or Lambeau home
But
field. No, not at all.
you also don't want to play in Buffalo. So that's
Yeah.
another thing to keep in
So it's
mind.
just like I don't know. It's
Yeah,
it's rough, and I just can't believe.
for sure.
I want to know where it's going to be played at. They left that part out, and I
Yeah, I
think
guess
that's
they'll
crazy.
decide. I think they'll just decide whenever that, whenever it comes, because who knows? It could be the Chargers and Kansas. Like it could be teams that don't qualify for that. And I think they'll
Yeah,
see
in like
how
LA or something.
this week plays out, and then they'll after we see who actually how that could actually go down, then they'll I think they'll decide.
Yeah, and then like I know I'm not thinking about because I luckily my playoff championship, we had no Bills Bengals players, but they like the apps that they had people planning. They have no like way
Yeah.
of even doing anything. Like it doesn't
Well,
make any sense.
I lost my championship when Justin Jefferson scored 2.5 points, so it didn't really matter for me. But the
Yeah.
person I was playing had the Cincinnati defense, and of course, defenses start off with a high number. So I think
hmm
Cincinnati had like 10 or 11 points at the time of the postponement. I think they just get those points. I don't know
Yeah,
how that
I
works.
don't. It was so like I'm looking at because I'm in two leagues. The one league I think like he didn't get any points. Like he just, I guess they just
Yeah.
like obviously in a fantasy championship, you're just gonna be like, okay, well, we can't count this year. Split it,
Hmm.
in half.
True.
Luckily, in my other league, it's not like that. We didn't have any of those players, but I just think that's so crazy. Like it's so crazy what happened, man. It's never happened before in sports, and I just view it so wow.
Yeah.
Which brings me to our next topic. Oh man, I couldn't wait to talk about this. Shannon Sharp and Skip Bayless. Man, oh man, I'm telling you, it was bad. Like they need to replace their show with us.
Free Unc. Free Unc.
They
Well,
need to
I mean,
replace his show with us.
first of all, Skip Bayless he's a bum. He doesn't know what he's talking about. For
Did
years
you
and
see
years
that
and years,
he
he's
became a LeBron fan?
he's literally oh my gosh, bro. The memes were so funny. Like the next day, they said Skip got canceled so bad that he started becoming a LeBron fan, bro. I was dying when
Yeah,
I
I think that was his move.
Skip
Yeah,
is just he's just made a career off of just being controversial. And when you're a
just
journalist,
speaking bull, just speaking BS.
when you're a journalist, you're supposed to be objective, which means you just look at the facts, nothing else. He has made an entire career of completely stretching the truth to fit whatever narrative he wants. Skip and Shannon, I used to watch it all the time. I don't even watch it anymore because all they talk about is the Cowboys, and they talk about the Cowboys and LeBron and I like LeBron. They talk about him every single day. They don't talk about anything
They're
else.
like they're interesting, like
They are
just the way they
interesting
argue.
because they have a
But
good dynamic and they have a lot of
yeah,
chemistry.
well
But
that's the
all that
thing though.
they
Like
only
what was
talk
it
about
last week?
two things.
Was it like two
Whenever
weeks ago when
when
when Skip took his or not Skip when Shannon took his glasses off and Skip called him a bomb and
yeah, when
you
Skip said
know
that Tom Brady was better than him. Oh yeah, Tom Brady. They talk about Tom Brady a
yeah
lot too. Yeah,
that was ridiculous.
yeah,
And I thought the show was so over when he said I was like yo
yeah.
Uncle Shay Shay
Um,
is a Hall of Famer
yes, but
and
that's
you're
some heavy
talking about him
disrespect
like you
coming from Skip
Skip
Bayless.
talks about him like he's like Skip's in the Hall of Fame or something like
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know. But we'll get to his tweet. Um, in my personal opinion, I read the tweet and I didn't see nothing complete. Like I understood what he was saying, but I think his tweet was taken such the wrong way.
yes.
Where as a journalist, as a professional, you have to take your tweet back and be like, "Yo," which he kind of did,
In
but you
this,
have to take it completely down and be like,
in,
"I didn't mean
yeah,
it that way."
in
I
this
want to
day
clear
and
that up.
age, especially people are getting canceled left and right. You have to be very careful about what you say. So what Skip said, yes, I think people read it I'm looking for it right now, but people definitely read it the wrong way
I understood what he was
because
saying. He was like, you know, this game
okay, this is what he
basically,
says. He says the NFL, no doubt the NFL is considering postponing the rest of this game, but how? Question mark. This late in the season, a game of this magnitude is critical to the regular season outcome, which suddenly seems so relevant. So what people thought he was saying was this magnitude is crucial to the regular season outcome. And then people were taking it as, which suddenly seems so irrelevant. Like this is such a bad thing that it's irrelevant.
yeah,
But what he
yeah,
was really
but he
saying
was trying to
was,
say it's irrelevant because of
which
his health.
suddenly it doesn't really matter anymore. It's very
Exactly.
irrelevant. That's what he was saying. But people,
I read it like that. That's how I read
yes,
it.
that's
And
exactly that's how I read it too.
trust me, I was 100% up here with everybody talking crazy about Damar,
Yeah,
but I didn't read Skip's tweet like that.
yeah.
But what I think Skip should have did is he should have took it down and been like, "Listen, I apologize. Y'all took it the wrong way. That's not how I was trying to
They
be."
could have
And that's
immediately
what he should
moved
have
on.
did.
Yeah,
Exactly. But he let it stay up, and everyone was tearing him. Everybody was getting at him,
yeah,
and it was bad. I don't think that I think that tweet would have been a lot worse if the more wouldn't have got better. You know
yeah,
what I mean?
yeah.
I think, pray to God, the more got a lot better. But if the more didn't get a lot better, I think that tweet would have blown up. I think Skip would have been done for, essentially.
Well, I think Skip can't. I mean, he's not. If he was gonna get canceled, he would have got canceled a long time ago. So
Not canceled. I don't see him. If that tweet would have stayed up and DeMar wouldn't have got better,
yeah,
I don't think he'd still be there. You know what I mean?
uh-huh.
Because that was so controversial.
Yeah,
Like, Darrell Revis was on there, freaking. I
yeah.
don't know if any of the Buffalo Bills teammates were on there,
Even Shannon
but
Sharp on like the show, like right,
yeah, he didn't like the tweet, and I mean I
right
don't
to his
blame him.
face. Yeah,
Shannon Sharp's
no, I
brother
don't.
was paralyzed on the football field. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? So that
yeah,
probably
Sterling
hits
Sharp.
home a little different.
Sure, yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean that's tough, and yeah, okay, he has his own podcast, so he's got some stuff going on. It's a shame because they do have good chemistry, but you never know what goes on behind the scenes. Like they might be best friends. They might only talk when they get to the studio. Like you just don't know stuff like that.
I
But
do believe that they're pretty good friends. Like
they
I
seem to be good
think it
friends.
was yesterday, like the beginning of the show, they fist bumped.
That's good.
Buried the hatchet, so to say. But I feel as if Shannon probably called him like
Yeah,
that day when he tweeted that and probably flipped. Because
that's
I would
good.
do the same with you. Like if you tweeted some bullshit like that, I'd
Yeah,
probably come to your house, knock on your door, open the door, take your phone, delete the tweet myself, and probably
yeah.
punch you in the face.
But
And that's just how it
I
would
would
be.
never tweet something
Yeah,
like that
you're not
though.
that stupid. But
Yeah,
if we got to that point, that's just what I would do.
yeah.
But I don't know,
I know
man.
what
I
you mean.
just think it was ridiculous, and I think
Yeah.
it was uncalled for. It was just
He should
so
have
many
been
wrongs.
way in this day and age, right? Can we agree that people are out here getting canceled left and right for
I mean, yeah, for
anything?
for people get canceled for less,
So
but
I'm
you
saying
just
in this day and age, especially that high of a public figure who knows when you tweet something, it's going to be seen by millions of people. You need to know to be more careful in, especially the way Skip is. Like people know who Skip is and how he talks. So I think when people read that, they're like, oh, that is definitely something Skip Bayless would say, which suddenly
mhm.
seems so irrelevant. Like that is something Skip Bayless would do and say.
Yeah, and I mean, I just think the tweet should have been,
Yeah,
"Hey, I'm praying for Demar," and that should have been it. That should
exactly.
have been it.
There was at that
'Cause
point in
that's
time,
all that mattered. You didn't have to talk about football.
nobody was even thinking about rescheduling or
No,
nobody was even thinking about it because that was right after it happened. That was like an hour
yeah,
after it happened. So
yeah.
nobody
Like
was even
no one
thinking
was thinking
about it at
about
that
football.
time. So he could, if he would have did that on Tuesday or Wednesday, especially when he was starting to, when we were seeing positive signs, but especially by
Yeah,
Wednesday and Thursday, then maybe it wouldn't have been as bad. But I agree.
yeah. Because obviously now that he's better, everyone's talking about them canceling that game. So if
Yeah,
he would have waited 3 days later, no one would have even
exactly,
cared about the tweet. But
exactly.
directly after something that big happens, he should never tweeted it. You got
Yeah,
to think before you tweet, and that's
for
just the
sure.
number one rule.
Yeah, facts. But yeah. Hopefully, he learns his lesson. But The
about
next,
it.
yeah, the next thing I want to talk about, though, speaking of people being a little immature, your guy, you probably have a little better grasp of the
Oh my
situations. So
God.
why don't you explain?
Kayvon Thibodeaux. I mean, I love, number five, that's my guy. But
Yeah.
dude, I didn't see I don't know. Maybe he just like never watched a Colts game when he was younger
Hmm.
or something. But like one, let's talk about what he did.
Go ahead.
Him doing that little what is it, snow the
He sacked Nick Foles, and Nick Foles was injured, very
and he did it and he was doing a
visibly injured, and he
celebration
was
on the
doing a
ground.
snow angel like right
Yeah,
next
he
to
was doing a
him as
snow
he was.
angel right next to him. So I don't believe that he seen that he was injured
No, that yeah, I don't. Yeah,
by any means. I
definitely.
don't think
Yeah.
there was any malicious intent behind it. But I think it looked very, very, very bad. Very bad. And
So yeah,
he
go
should
ahead.
have just apologized and call it a day because it
Exactly, just
was
like Skip
wrong.
Bayless, just like Skip Bayless.
Yes, exactly. So it was wrong, and he shouldn't have done it. And he should have apologized, called it a day. He didn't double back at all, which cool. He's his own man. But for him to be like, I don't know, Jeff Saturday.
Yeah,
One, he's the head coach of that team.
yeah, exactly.
So what
You're
do you
not a
mean you
head.
don't know
You're
Jeff
not a head
Saturday?
coach, Kayvon Thibodeaux. You're not a head coach. So look, here's just my thing. I'm not first. Let's talk about the play. Right, he sacks Nick Foles with 48 seconds left in the second half, and the score was 21-3. I'm assuming you know the phrase when when you do something, act like you've done it before.
Yeah.
That's kind of where the issue comes in. Where it's like it's just a sack. You sacked him. Like you can do your little dance, but getting on the field and especially in a game where you're winning by 18 points with 48 seconds left, I think it's definitely a rookie thing. And I think we'll chalk it up as he's a rookie, he's immature. He'll realize it later on, whether somebody has to come and talk to him or not, that what he did was not right. He has 4 sacks this
And I'm
season.
sure someone did. I'm
He has
sure someone
four.
did come and talk
He
to
has
him.
4 sacks this season, and I'm sure you watch him more than me, so I don't know how effective or good he really has
He's a
been.
no. He is a big part of that defense.
He's been
I
a
won't
solid
lie.
player, but still, he only has 4 sacks. So it's like you said, when you do something, act like you've done it before, and clearly he hasn't done it much before. So that was what warranted that. I mean, it's just immature and cocky. Like you're winning by 18
Whoa,
points. The Colts are.
whoa, whoa,
It is. It's cocky.
whoa!
The
Don't
Colts
don't
are
don't don't
terrible.
go don't
You're
go
beating them
shooting
by
too crazy.
you're
Don't
beating
go
them
shooting
by
too
18
crazy.
points at home. There's 48 seconds left in the second half, and you're doing a snow angel after injuring their player.
I won't I
It
won't
just
go as far as to say
act like
Thibodeau's
you've
a
done it
bad
before.
player.
No,
I
I'm
won't
not
go that
saying he's
far
a
and
bad
say,
player. I'm just saying like you're a young guy. You've done nothing in this league. Relax a little bit, bro. That's all I'm saying.
whoa. I mean, he's a monster. He's like a vocal point on that defense. He may only have
I'm
four
sure he
sacks,
will
but that
be. I'm
that
sure he is, and I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sure he is. He
that
takes a lot of
doesn't speak
tackles. I'm
for
I'm
everything.
I'm sure he will be. Yeah, and I get it that the numbers don't necessarily speak for the tape, but still, like, relax, bro. You play for the
Yeah,
Giants.
I
You
mean,
play for the Giants, bro.
well, okay, come on. Anyways, I don't think it was right, but I think the biggest part of it all is the fact that he said he doesn't know who Jeff Saturday is,
Yeah, and then
and then he
disrespecting
went
Hall
into
of
the speech.
Famer,
Hold
Super
on,
Bowl
he went
champion.
into the speech. Hold on. He went into the speech of, I feel like you have to done it before, and then the reporter's like, Jeff Saturday played the game. He obviously he's like, well, I don't know. He's in the Hall of Fame. He's not just in the Hall of Fame. He's the head coach of that football team. So I think it was just disrespect on top of disrespect on top of disrespect
And
that someone
yeah,
had to like cut him down for and be like, yo, you gotta relax. Because
and you don't
one, that's a Hall of
disrespect.
Famer over there.
Yeah. You don't disrespect other teams' coaches because you never know when that could be. Like, if it were Jeff Saturday, the analyst, talking saying that, then it's one thing to be
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, I don't know. 'Cause you often hear guys talk about people in the media and people on ESPN. That's fine. But the head coach of another football team, bro, come on.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully he'll just, hopefully
Yeah,
just chalk it up as just he'll learn from it. A lot of people do immature things when they're young. Um, you know, I'm sure he'll learn
I
get
don't
from it and
believe
get
that
past it.
was right. Like 100%.
No.
Like it was. I understand. You did a celebration next to an injured player.
Yeah.
Cool. You probably like I said, he probably didn't see him. But for him
Mhm.
to go on a rant where it was like, I don't feel like that. If I don't feel like if you haven't done this before, and
Yeah.
then he just ate his words because like Jack Saturday is a Hall of Famer. he was one of the best to ever play the game. You know what I mean? So it just made him look like it just not stupid, but it did make him look a little stupid because
Yeah,
it was
and
like,
yeah, that doesn't necessarily mean that's who he is. It doesn't mean that he's just gonna do that his whole career. So hopefully, like you said, we
mm-mm.
just chalk it up as a lesson, learn from it. Maybe apologize on Twitter, give him a jersey. Send Nick Foles a jersey. I don't know, but patch it up and just move on.
Yeah, I mean, I think Thibodeau's a good guy. He's a wonderful
Yeah,
player.
yeah. He seems like
But
he's a
that
good
I think
player.
that that comment about Jeff Saturday, I think, was the biggest. Like, what
Threw it
the
over the
heck
top.
did you just say? Like, what did you just say?
Yeah, I felt it.
He played with pity, man. Like, you
Yeah,
know,
mhm,
I don't know. I don't know.
yeah, for sure. Um, anything else about football before
Nah,
we?
nah. I think that was it.
Yeah.
I think that was all the football topics.
Well, so Week 18 will be played tomorrow. Quick shout out to the Lurs, man. Get handling business against the Browns, and then my boy Joe Flacco finna come save us. But as football talk concludes, we'll move into basketball, which we'll be talking about a lot more, especially as the football season kind of comes to an end. The Lakers won again yesterday. They're 18-21 now. LeBron had 25. He's getting closer and closer to that record, and he's really been balling out, hasn't he?
I mean, the Lakers in general. I think, you know, not to say they turned it around, but I think they're like a game and a half behind until getting into that number 10 spot.
Yeah.
Which I totally believe
They
they're
need
going
to
to get
be a
into.
yeah. They need to be out of the play-in. They need to
Yeah,
not be a play-in team.
yeah. I think the playing is so it's interesting. Don't get me wrong, but it is so like anything can happen that
Yeah.
it's just like you don't want to be in that playing
all
tournament to be
it's all
safe.
about, like I said, it's all about the money. In my opinion, the play-in tournament is so stupid. Like, remember in the bubble, right? It was
Mhm.
if you're the ninth seed and you are a certain amount of games back from the eighth seed, then you get a chance. Could you imagine being a 10th seed that was, say, 10 games back of the eighth seed and you win the play-in game and then you play and it's a one and done too. It's not like it's a series, right? It's a one and done between these two teams. So I never liked the plan. I always thought it was just a money trope, just trying to get as much money as they can because there's like, especially the Lakers team in 2021, right? They were good. AD goes down, they're still pretty good. Then LeBron goes down, and a team that has one of the best rosters and two superstars on their team, they fall completely out of the playoff race because of injuries, and then they get in the seventh seed. And even though they won that game, they very easily could have lost to the Warriors and then lost to the Grizzlies again, and then all of a sudden you're out of the playoffs. And you not necessarily deserve it.
Yeah, game. I just oh, it one game. I I hate like that play in section. I don't believe that the Lakers will have a problem with getting to like the sixth seed at all. To be
I
totally
mean,
honest, like I think they
it's
can
gonna
make it.
they're gonna need AD to come back, and they're gonna need to win big games. Like no
To
more
be
beating.
honest, I don't know if
No,
you've seen the Western Conference like
no, it's very
standings, but
close. It is very
it is
close.
like I think from the sixth seed, they're probably like 4.5 games back,
You've
but they're
been
probably not
watching.
that far.
You've been watching the Nets, right? Or I mean,
No,
you've
I
been
didn't
keeping
watch the
up.
Nets.
They were pretty low in the standings, and they've won. They've won a lot of games in a row. I think they won like 11 straight. They've won like 14 out of 15. But they went from a team that on the outside looking into the two seed. If the Lakers can go on a win streak like that, as presently stand, they're 2 games out of the 6 seed, 3 games out of the 5 seed, 4 games out of the 4 seed, and they're only 8 games
Yeah, like
back for
it's
the one
all
seed.
close. So everyone on the West really has the same record
If the
from
Lakers,
5 to 6.
yeah, if the Lakers can go on a 10, 11 game winning streak and beat some of these teams that are ahead of them in the West, they could jump up to the fourth or third seed pretty
Well,
easily. That's what they need to do.
this next game is really important for them. I think they play the Timberwolves, don't they?
I'm not sure, but yeah, I mean they
I think
might.
it's the T-Wolves. They need to win that game. I
Yeah,
think it's very important for the standings. But like you said, let's talk about the elephant in the room. They don't have 80,
yeah.
so
I think
someone needs to
he's
make
coming
up for
back
that.
soon.
Obviously,
I will say Thomas Bryant has been giving them good minutes. He's been playing really. Obviously he's not as good as AD, but he's a pretty. I think he lacks in defense, which I know that was something that kind of a problem for him. I don't know if it still is, but he has been adding some offensive production. I mean, especially like it's just LeBron just needs help. And the sad thing about the Lakers record too is you think about the games that they lost that they should have won. The one against Philly comes to mind when they came back from down 9 points and AD missed the game-winning free throw, and the one against Boston where they led by like 10 points with a few minutes to go. It's like the Lakers easily, what they're 18 and 21, they could be 20. They could be 20 and 19 right now, sitting in the AC, sitting in the 7th seed. Sitting. They would be the 6th seed right now if they don't blow those 2 games. And
Yeah,
for the Lakers, it will be about taking advantage of opportunities given to them and not wasting them. Because if they continue to miss opportunities, and you need clutch wins, like it's not just beating. You can't just beat the Spurs. You can't just beat the Hawks and the Magic and teams that aren't good. You have to beat quality teams, especially within your own conference. And like they're gonna have to beat the Suns. Like I feel like the Lakers haven't beaten the Suns since the playoffs a couple years ago. They're gonna have to beat the Warriors. They're gonna have to beat the Clippers. Like there are these teams that the Lakers are gonna have to beat and get better at. And I think they'll need Anthony Davis for that because you can't count on Dennis Schroeder to give you 30 points every night. You can't count
definitely
on
not.
Kendrick Nunn to give you 23 points. You can't count on that because that stuff just not gonna happen. So it's not sustainable to win that way. So that's why you need AD to come
Yeah,
back because
so
you can count on AD to give you 30. You can count on him to give you 35. But
every
the other
time.
players on the Lakers team that you just can't count on them to do stuff like that. It's just not gonna happen.
Yeah, I think I think the Lakers have a good chance. Obviously, LeBron's going to crush that scoring record.
LeBron's gonna do his
I
thing. He
can't
might.
wait. I can't wait till he passes. It's gonna shut down sports
People
for
are
probably
actually
two
like
whole days.
people are actually like calling him like the goat. Like I think where he's obviously already been the goat in our minds. To the people who don't think he is,
People are starting to
I
realize like,
think
yo,
this is
he's
gonna
about to
put
break the
him. I
scoring
think
record
more than people know, like this will put him over the edge of Jordan. There will obviously still be those people, which I
with
mean,
the
they're entitled to
ring, with this, with that.
they're entitled to them.
But
But this scoring record is really putting LeBron like
so he'll be what number one
over.
in scoring.
He'll
What
be
is he
number one
in?
in
What is he in
scoring.
assists? Probably
I,
like
I think
he's
it's
top 10 in assists,
he'll be top 10
and he'll
in
be
both
top 10
assists
in
and
rebounds,
rebounds and steals, and he's somewhere there in the
steals.
books. LeBron will definitely have the stats for sure, especially over
Yeah,
Jordan.
I think it's gonna be good. I think it's
And
like it's gonna. I'm telling you, it's gonna shut down sports for a while. Everyone's gonna talk about it. There's probably
yeah,
gonna be a million tweets about it.
and LeBron has scored more points than he's going to pass Kareem playing in like 150 less games. Like so, it's you can't sit here and it's not necessarily all a longevity thing. Like how he played more games than Jordan to get the scoring record, but he took less shots. Same with Kareem. He played not only less games, but I'd have to double check, but I think he's took less shots as well. So it's just amazing to see. And hopefully this like LeBron should be playing at especially at this stage in his career and how good he is, he should be playing in meaningful basketball games. He should be playing in playoff
Yeah,
games. He should be
like he
playing in
didn't
regular
play the
season
other
games that
day.
matter. Well,
He
no,
didn't
no,
play the other day for like sickness.
I'm not even saying him sitting out. I'm saying just his team should be good enough to play in these big time games because LeBron is a big time player. And I hate to see
Yeah,
his career kind of vanish as he plays on this bum Laker team that you know what I'm saying? Like LeBron should be in the
yeah.
playoffs, compete. Like he doesn't necessarily like. I think the expectations wouldn't be he would go to the championship and win if he made the playoffs, but he should be playing. He should be playing in the second round or third round of the playoffs in highly contested games, putting on a show for the fans because that's who he is and that's what he should be doing.
Every time, everybody wants to see
Yeah,
LeBron back in the ship, and that's just
yeah.
what it is. That gives you the most views. That gives you the most money. So let's
I don't
make it
even want to
happen.
see him in the championship. I just want to see him in the playoffs playing good. Like that's like the main thing for me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I think it's gonna be good. Though
yeah,
Lakers, I feel like they're getting it together and they're getting some wins. Once
yeah.
AD comes back, I think they can be an unstoppable force.
They just
So
need to
let's hope
get to
everybody
five.
gets it
They just need
together.
to get to 500 and then go on a run. That's what they need to do. And like I said, it's
AD
not going to
needs to
be
take
easy.
his time.
Well, I don't know when he's coming back. Like I don't know what his thing is, but I'm telling you, bro, just get to 500 and then go on a run, and then
If
uh,
I'm
you
being
know,
totally honest, when's the All Star break? Probably in
I
like
think it's in like
a month.
February or something like that. I
Yeah.
know the trade
Like
deadline is February 9th. I'm not sure when the All Star game is.
so he might as well AD might as well not come back until after the All Star break, just to heal up a little extra.
I
Because
think they're gonna, bro.
I
The All
just
Star
know
break
he's
is
gonna
in
come
like a
back here.
month, bro.
Yeah, just don't
He's
come
gonna
back until the
wait.
All Star break.
He's gonna wait until the middle of February to come back.
Listen,
That's like a month and a half. You know how many games they play between that? Like
listen.
they need him, bro. Like we were just saying,
Yeah, they
they
need
need
him, but
him. So why would he
they
wait?
ain't gonna have him if he gets hurt again. You know what I mean?
But it doesn't. But he's gonna get hurt again anyway. Like it seems like at this point, like
Yeah,
they're only gonna have like 20 games left by the time. Like there's so many. Like we're saying, they need to go on a run soon here, bro. Like they play the Kings, the Nuggets, Dallas, Philadelphia. They could easily lose all four of those games or win all four of those games. It just depends on the night, I guess. But they don't want to dig in. Like they could get into a hole where it was like last year, where they don't even make the playoffs, and that would be a huge shame.
yeah, we don't
You
want to
know?
do that, especially if he breaks a scoring record this year. Like
Yeah.
everybody's gonna want to
I
see him
mean,
in.
like LeBron missing the playoffs 2 years in a row. Like, come on, that's just not. That can't happen. It can't.
Yeah,
And the
you
Lakers
know,
need help. And they haven't done it. They haven't done it right.
I was just looking at the stats from his 2018, his greatest, probably the greatest championship.
Yeah.
Stats I've ever seen in my life, man.
So good.
He can really carry a team. And I feel like that's what Braun's gonna have to do if they want to be good and they want to make the playoffs. He has to carry,
He'll
even
need
though
help
he's
though. He can't carry like he did then.
yeah,
And if he could, the Lakers wouldn't be 18-21 right now.
yeah. Just like
So
man, let's that game by Donovan Mitchell, who we should have
yeah.
traded for. Oh
Yeah.
man, like that was
71 points.
amazing. 71 points.
He almost had a 70-point triple double, bro. He's
Don't
official.
get me wrong though. I do think it was like double OT, wasn't it?
I think it was in regular OT.
Was it?
Just one overtime, but still it doesn't matter. He might have played 44 minutes instead of 39. He played 5 extra minutes, but yeah, that's crazy. 71 points. I mean, scoring is
That was
going up. People
amazing.
are starting to score way more and way easier and way more efficiently, especially at how many free throws people shoot these days. So it's not out of the question for
Yeah, we
somebody
can
to
talk.
score
Yeah,
80 points in a
we
game.
can talk about like the Jordan era and this era another day because just like imagine you drop Donovan Mitchell in the
Mhm.
90s. You
Yeah,
drop Stephen Curry in the 90s. You drop a whole bunch of players in the 90s.
yeah.
You know,
They're just
I
way more
view like
skilled.
how we look at John Morant, he's
Hmm.
just like he's not a regular guy. Obviously, he got insane bounce.
He's so
But
good.
you drop him in the 90s, he's gonna be MJ.
Yeah,
And he can
I
he can
mean,
shoot. So
yeah,
he's gonna be the greatest. And
yeah.
that's just how I feel about it. It's crazy to think about it, but
Not for
man,
sure. He's official.
there's a lot of players that you drop in the 90s, and
Yeah.
I just feel like they tear up the whole league. Just like I can't remember. I think it was I don't know if it was George hit like someone was talking about it, and they were like, I remember the first, 2, 3 guard, 6, 7. He was two. He could play the two and he could play the three, and he was 6, 7, 6, 8.
Who, Tracy
And in the
McGrady?
'90s, no. I think it was somebody else talking about it, but I think they were talking about like I can't remember who they were talking about, but they were like in the '90s. They dropped him in the '90s. He could
Yeah.
play the two. He could play the three, and they didn't know what to do with him. They couldn't guard him. They couldn't do nothing. He's like,
Wow.
imagine dropping LeBron James, who can
Oh
play
well.
every single position
Yeah.
in the '90s.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. It is a very intricate discussion and definitely would be something we should talk about in the future. But yeah. I mean, I think LeBron would be the best player in any era, but I think that's pretty
Any era.
undisputed.
I mean,
Yeah. So I
yeah.
wish him and Jordan could have went up against each other. And like, even if it was when Jordan was 40 years old and LeBron was like 19, like I wish they could have played each other once just to kind of see, you know.
You think
But
they never got a one-on-one in? I think they got a one-on-one in one time in their life. No
yeah,
one just wants to talk about it.
LeBron better have won. Yeah, Jordan probably paid everybody not to talk about it because he's so scared about his reputation that LeBron probably beat him 21-3, and he probably doesn't want anybody to ever find out. I'm sure we'll hear about it one day
One day, yeah, when they make a last dance for
when they make the
LeBron,
LeBron documentary. Yeah, when they make the what will they call LeBron's last dance? 4 and 6?
the goat. That's all they would say, the goat.
No, not 4 and 6. We're not calling it
No,
that.
definitely not 4 and
No.
6. He's gonna be 6 and
Oh,
6 by the time he retires.
6 and 6. Now, if LeBron gets
Mark
six
my
rings,
word.
yeah, it's definitely over. If LeBron gets 2 more rings, especially with this team, yeah, it's wraps.
If he wins this year with this team, I feel like there's no debate. Like
Yeah.
this team is so
If he
garbage.
goes on a yeah, he's terrible, bro. Like Dennis freaking Schroeder and Pat Bev, bro. No disrespect to them, but like the look, bro. Here, hold up, real quick. The Nets are 17-2 over their last 19 games, so they were sitting at in below the play-in, and now they're the 2 seed fighting for the 1 seed. That's what the Lakers need.
I don't even understand how Dennis Schroeder got back on the Lakers. Like I'm
Yeah,
so confused. Like I thought we were done with him. And then on top of that,
because they're
like
looking for anybody to play for them.
yeah, Pat Bev. Like don't get me wrong, you know, Pat Bev is a semi likable guy.
No, he's a good
Like
defender and he's an energy guy, but he's giving you 2 points, bro. And like I say, in the high school and a little bit in the college level, I say you don't need to score to make an impact. You don't need to score to make a difference. You can have a true impact on the game and score 0 points. But when you're in the NBA and everybody's as skilled as they are, and it's all about who can score the best and who can shoot the most, you can't play 30 minutes and only score 2 points. You can't
well,
do that in the
especially on a
NBA.
team that needs points. You
Yeah.
know, they don't need defense. They have one of the best defense in the
They have
league.
great defense. When they play together
But
as a team, they play great defense. But yeah, you're right.
yeah, it's just one of them things that like, yo, they need points and like Pat Bev ain't a 3 point he ain't a 3 point shooter. LeBron needs somebody he can kick it out to, AR-15, done. You know,
Yeah,
he's
facts.
a three every time in the corner. That's just what he needs. That's the type of basketball that he plays is he's gonna drive to that rim, get double team,
Yes,
kick it
you're
out.
correct. Yes, yeah, absolutely. LeBron's style of play does not fit with the current Lakers roster, and
No.
for them to improve, not only will we need AD, but like the Lakers are going to have to hit shots because games that I've watched, he could have 10, 11, 12, 30. He could have 15 assists every game, but it doesn't happen that way because people don't hit shots. But
Yeah, I don't even understand how they built that Lakers team, but
yeah,
conversation for another day. Hopefully they get good. Hopefully they win out, and
yeah,
we'll see.
but,
We'll have that conversation.
but yeah, that is all the time that we have for today on the Saturday special. We'll be back on Monday or Tuesday, I guess, wrapping up NFL Week 18 and kind of maybe a little bit of a playoff preview. But it's been a pleasure.
It's for surely been a pleasure, man. It's for
All right,
surely been a pleasure.
here we go, Steelers. Here we go to the playoffs.